Hey guys, Merrick here with the Movement Real Estate Group. I wanted to do a quick 2019 year-end review for Abbotsford. Some of my friends and clients have asked me to do it, so we're going to jump into it. I probably will do what we expect to see in 2020, 2021 in another video, but let's jump into what has happened and we'll go from there. All my numbers are based on the HPI price, which is your standard or typical home. It gets rid of the high end, extremely high end, and the extremely low end, and we're kind of looking at the middle of the market. So middle of the market for residential detached, and middle of the market for townhouses and condos, respectively. So in Abbotsford, since 2005 to 2019, the prices have been kind of stagnant, and then they just jumped up here. Why is that? Why did the prices jump up, and is that going to continue, or can we expect to see more of a stagnation? We will get into that in the next video. I will talk a little bit of why do prices rise, and we'll kind of continue this on. So why do prices rise? It's simple, supply and demand. The more demand and the less supply, you're going to see prices rise. If you have a lot of supply and the demand is low, prices are going to fall. Simple as that. So interest rates. The federal government put on some stress test rules and regulations to kind of dampen the market a little bit. It worked. It took away buying power from people, so they had less demand in the marketplace because they couldn't get what they wanted to get. Economic growth. As the country's economy gets stronger and we make more money, there's more jobs, higher pay, people qualify for more of a mortgage, they end up upgrading. So economic growth goes into demand. Demographics. So as more and more people move here from across Canada, from the US, even from overseas, from China, Hong Kong, as immigrants come into the area, you're going to see the prices rise because there's more people here, there's more money in the area, the supply hasn't increased to keep up with demand, so that's why prices are going to rise as far as demographics. And then location, as they say in real estate. You know, if you're close to the beach, if you're close to transportation, close to the shops, this is where people want to live. They want to live in city centers, live where they work. So as location is important, you're going to see properties with good locations rise in price. So back to Abbotsford. This is Abbotsford's trajectory in the last 10 years or so. I want to jump over to Vancouver really quick, and I want to talk about the Vancouver market, and as their market grows, it pulls our market up. So 1977 all the way up to 2018 or 2017 in this graph specifically. So in the early 90s, you saw a lot of immigrants, about 30,000 a year, leaving Hong Kong and coming to Canada. They settled mostly in Vancouver and Toronto areas, and the reason they were coming is because Hong Kong was getting transferred from British rule to Chinese rule. So there was a little bit of an unwariness, if you will, of how that transition would go down. In 1997, it proved that it wasn't that the Chinese were going to honor the Hong Kong government, and that kind of cooled down. But you saw a shift from the Hong Kong Chinese coming over to the mainland Chinese coming over in the late 90s because of the switch of the regulations from the People's Republic of China, allowing their citizens to immigrate out of China. So as that happened in the late 90s, you saw a large increase of mainland Chinese coming to Vancouver and Toronto specifically, upwards of 40,000 a year coming to Canada from mainland China. So a lot of immigrants, but specifically investment business style. 70% of them actually were in the investment class for immigration, which is staggering. They came over, started purchasing houses in the area, and Vancouver's prices started to rise. In 2008, we had the mortgage crisis in the U.S., which also brought our prices down. And 2010, you saw the prices start to go up again because of, you guessed it, the Olympics. The Olympics put us on a world stage. We had people from all over the world coming and visiting and realizing that they love Vancouver, they love what we had to offer, and we got more and more of this world-class city aspect of the Pacific Rim. People saw it, they liked it, and they started buying properties here. I'm talking high-end properties. So as that came, this is where we're at now, 2017, 19 and up to 20. It'll be about the same as far as a kind of a jumping up and down in price. So I want to show you real quick what that looks like. In 2015, all of these houses in green are over $2 million. The ones in red are between $1 and $2 million, and blue is below $1 million. This is Main Street here. You've got almost nothing on this side. There's nothing for sure in the $2 million range, but majority of them are less than $1 million. 1 year later, this is 2016. You see all of this has changed to green almost, with the exception of a few properties. And now you've got almost nothing here less than $1 million. So this is in 1 year. That's how quickly that's changed. And that pushes money out into Abbotsford. It pushes money out into Surrey, to Langley and Abbotsford, because as the prices rise, it becomes less and less affordable. So more and more people are going to look into the Fraser Valley to meet their housing needs. So our market, very, very closely tied to the Vancouver market, although this is $2 million and this is 0.8 million, so 800,000. So you can see that we do need to keep an eye on the Fraser, on Vancouver, see what they're doing, because it affects the Fraser Valley. So let's get back into the Fraser Valley. Residential detached since 2014 has gone up quite a lot in Abbotsford. We're going to zoom in on this right here, and you're going to see in July the high for 2018 was $841,700 in Abbotsford. So that was your HPI price for a residential detached home in Abbotsford. It was $840,000. That price has fallen to July to $808,000 of 2019. So the price has come down. Does this mean that you've lost $40,000? Not exactly. A rising tide lifts all ships, and a sinking tide lowers all ships. So as the price adjusts and corrects, if you will, if you're staying in the market, you're going to be buying the more property for less money. So as long as you're keeping your money in the market, you don't necessarily are losing money. It looks like that on paper. Now, if you're exiting the market, then yes, you are losing money or have lost money. Now, if you're upgrading or changing from one residential detached to another, you're buying lower, you're selling lower. You buy higher, you sell higher. It's as simple as that. So townhouses. Townhouses in 2014 have gone up to 2018 over 400K. They were at 409,000. August, they've come back down to $383,000. And you're going to see this trend as the residential detached comes down and gets a correction. It's going to trickle down into your apartments and your townhouses. So apartments, in June, they were 356, 2018. In 2019, in April, they're high, they were 320. And then that's actually come down a little bit since then. So going back into what the prices are doing, we are seeing the prices have lifted traditionally since 2014, 15, 16, and 17. And then now we've seen a bit of a price correction come for 2019. So prices have fallen. But sales is actually doing well. So this is sales numbers. You've got blue is 2018 sales, green 2019, and then we've got our 10-year average for sales. So this has nothing to do with prices. This is just how many transactions are happening in Abbotsford. This is all property all transaction types. So we've got all of our condos, all of our townhouses and residential detached, everything that the MLS market has tracked. So if it was done privately, it's not in here. Anything that was on MLS is here. So you can see we started in 2019 well below 2018 in sales and below the average in sales. So we were around just over 100 sales in January of 2019. We ended up catching up in July. So July, we had a good July, and we were above average for sales, so above the 10-year average. And you can see that 2018 started a little bit stronger and then dropped off quite significantly. So 2018, the latter half of 2018 was slow. We saw that slow market, that uncertainty, continue into halfway through 2019, and then at the end of 2019, we stayed at or above the 10-year average for sales. So we are actually doing more sales in Abbotsford than we do on a 10-year average, which is really nice to see. It shows you that the people that in 2018 were kind of waiting back and seeing what was going to happen are starting to re-engage with the market. So they're starting to buy again, which is great. We may see the federal government remove the stress test for people putting 20% down. This would increase demand, and then we would see even more sales and potentially see a small increase in price as the year goes on, but I'll do this a little bit in more detail in the next video. So yeah, this is the market for 2019. We had a good end to the market, and started off a little bit weak, but we ended up above average for sales, which is great to see. So again, my name is Merrick. Sorry for the length of this video, but I wanted to hit all my points. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. And yeah, good luck in the real estate market for 2020.